Alright, let's have a quick look at Scribble and Scratch, and I've been playing around with it on the developer beta for about a month now. And we're in Notes, and we're going to have a go at handwriting and it turning into text. When you bring up your markup tools, you can see that there's an extra pen in there with an A on it, and this is your Scribble and Scratch pen. So we need to have this selected when we want to do our handwriting to text. So let's give it a go and see how it works. Now, what I've noticed the most with Scribble is it works really well when you write sentences. It doesn't write so well when you try to just do letters on their own. Sometimes a lowercase letter and an uppercase letter gets a little bit mixed up. Let's try and write a sentence and see what happens. So you can see that as I'm writing, it's automatically turning it into text, and it doesn't matter how messy I'm writing, it's still able to pick that up and put it into text. Okay, let's have a look at using Scratch to delete. So if I wanted to delete the word puzzle, all I need to do is scratch over the top of it to select and it goes away. And if I've made a mistake, I can just hit undo to bring that word back again. If I want to select a word or words, there are two ways to do this. So I can circle a word, or I can circle some words, or I can draw a line through the word or words. If you need to add a space or remove a space, draw a slash between the words and then the space goes away. To bring the space back again, I just draw the same slash and it brings the space back again. What I've noticed is that if you write a little bit too fast, it can get a little bit muddled. So sometimes if you stop writing and then start again, it will move your text down too far. And if you're writing too fast, like if you're a university student and it gets a little bit muddled and it starts moving your notes from line to line, that could get a little bit frustrating if you're trying to take notes for an essay or something like that. So let's try out just some single letters and see what happens when we do those. Now I've noticed that when I do a G, if I just do a G like this, it can turn into the number 9. So I really need to try to emphasize the G or try to create a cursive handwriting G for it to come up. The other one that I have a lot of problem with is the lowercase l. It never seems to work very well. Sometimes you really need to think about how you're writing. So you've got S and it's just not coming up. It just keeps going with 5. And you can see the same with T. So sometimes it makes you think about your handwriting and how you're actually forming your letters. If you get a little bit lazy with your handwriting, sometimes it doesn't work. So Z as well can be a little bit hard to do. So sometimes like that, it won't come up. So you find all little tricks to try to get it to work so it recognizes what you're actually writing. Now, lowercase letters seem to work all right. If you look through the list there, you can see that there's a few mistakes. If we try some uppercase letters, most of these should work fine. And again, it could just be my messy handwriting where it's not picking it up. So trying to get that W out as the uppercase is just not really working for me there. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag when it comes to uppercase and lowercase. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. So if I write a sentence with a lowercase l, it should pick it up. So you can see there that I've written solve, and because the lowercase l is within that word, it's picked it up. What I've also found is that Scribble and Scratch only works in set text fields. So things like a search field that are already made, and it probably works best in Notes, not really so well in Pages or Keynote. Let's have a look at some of the other apps and see how Scribble works. Alright, let's go into Pages, and I have a text box in here. Now if I try to use Scribble in here, it doesn't always work. Now what happens is, because the iPad gesture is to double tap on your screen to bring up the drawing function in Pages, what happens is we bring up drawing instead of Scribble. So then we can't add text into that text box. Even though you could kind of say it's a set text field, we've added the text field. So if I was doing something like searching for a shape, I could use my pencil and start to write in there and bring up a shape. Flicking over to Keynote, it's the same type of thing. So if I try to use Scribble on here, if I tap on the Scribble pencil in the bottom left-hand corner and try to write, it's still going to bring up the drawing function for me. The same in Pages. If I want to use the search field and write something in here, it'll recognize my handwriting and then bring up that shape. You really need to be using Scribble over predefined text fields where you would normally type into. So if I go in here and try and add a text box and then double tap on there and try to write in there, it will just bring up my drawing function. Alright, we're in Safari and let's try Scribble out. So instead of having to type out a web address, in the search field I can simply handwrite in here and it should come up with what I'm looking for. And then I can use Scribble to search as well within Google. Another great way to use Scribble in Safari is when you need to fill out a form. I'm sure you've all tried to book tickets, and as you go through the booking process, it kind of times you out. So being able just to write within these text fields is really fast and it'll get you through the booking process a lot quicker. So we're over in Clips and let's see if Scribble works in here. So I'm going to tap on a poster and tap to select my text. Now if I start using Scribble, it's not really working. I've tried to test this out before and I've not really had much success in trying to write in here. Some things come up, but trying to write a word doesn't really work. We're across in iMovie now. Let's see if we can add a title onto the squid using Scribble. Tap to select my text, double tap and use the grab handles to select the words and delete. Now I'm going to try and use my Apple Pencil and see if Scribble works to write a title. Alright, that seems to work quite well in iMovie, though I do have to do a little bit of manually double tapping and selecting before I can use my Apple Pencil and Scribble. Over in Settings we have Search, which is already a set text field, so we should be able to use Scribble in here as well. So if I go over to Search and type in something that I'm trying to look for, it'll take my handwriting and automatically convert it into text. So you can see that Scribble does work across a number of apps. It works maybe better in some than another. So Scribble definitely works best in Notes. So test it out and see how you go. Even try and test out writing really messy and see what happens. Test out some of those features, adding in spaces, selecting words, scratching out words, and just have a little bit of fun with it to start off with and experiment and see how you go with your handwriting. I've noticed that I've really had to try and write a little bit neater to get out what I want to write. But I'm really enjoying using Scribble so far and excited to keep using it.